Hi, you guys. Leanne Holitza here at the Healing Studio. Going live a few minutes early just because I've been having a little technical difficulties these days. So, if you wouldn't mind, if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up or type yes in the comments so that I can acknowledge that you are there. And I'm hoping, yes, thumbs up. Yay. Okay. Woohoo. All right. Hi, everybody. Thank goodness we are live today. It's been a little bit of a roller coaster. Okay, so I'm Leanne Holitza. I am an Oracle reader, well, an energy coach, really, at the Healing Studio in Broomfield, Colorado. And right now I am doing your weekly Oracle check-in, which I do every Sunday. Like I said, I've been having a little bit of issues. But if you want a card, you just type me please in the comments. So Marita, I see you there. Hi, Cameron. Hey, Lisa. You guys are at the bottom, just so you know. That doesn't mean I won't get to you. It just means I'm going to go down the list of everybody who's me pleased, and we will go. It'll be like a fire hose, okay? And we'll get our themes going too. So if you stay till the end, you're going to start to hear that there's actually some collective stuff going on. And I'll call it out when we see the 3 times the charm. I'm using the Entre deck as usual. And then for your personal readings, you're going to get Alice in Wonderland, which is kind of like, where are you in your consciousness shift? I'm using Amanda Ellis's higher self um, connection spray today for all of us. And I've got the apophyllite as our friend. So apophyllite's really good for like channeling work or just kind of reaching the higher realms. All right, so let's get started. We have a new moon ritual week, so let's see what it's gonna bring. All right. Okay, so we start off the week with some devotion energy. This is like, what are you able to devote your energy to without losing energy? This is the energy of self, other, something we couldn't be without each other. Okay, so really kind of building on your relationships at the start of the week. Then okay, helper card is practice upside like sideways. So what this is saying is do your work, that is to practice and preserve the things you choose to preserve. Meaning, if your friendships are important, call your friends. If your home is important, clean your house. If your job is important, spend some extra time strategizing, that kind of thing. Okay. And then at the end of the week, you got bliss sideways, and you can see all the little triangles indicate some relationships shakeups. So when you start to practice what you find as a priority, sometimes our relationships get shook up because we're sharing or co-creating with someone else who doesn't necessarily agree. Okay. So do bliss the best that you can. Know that there might be some jumbly energy that at the end of next week about your relationships, but just work on practicing what you want to preserve. Okay. All right, let's build from there. Here's your first card. So I want you to really think into it, feel into your energy, and I want you to pick a number 1, 2, or 3. Okay, it's 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so if you picked 1, this is your first card. If you're watching later, hi everybody, thanks for watching later. If you're watching live, hello everyone. Here's your first card. Okay, if you picked 1, you're working on finding the lesson. So number 29, a little bit further in the consciousness path, she's discovering her purpose in the situation that she's in, and she's trying to trust what she's learning. There's a lot of chaos, a lot of people doing certain things around her. There's some wisdom coming from the cat. There's some wisdom coming from a caterpillar. There's a crazy queen. So think about what kind of chaos is inviting you in right now, and what are you learning from it? If you picked 2, your focus is going to be it's always tea time in a reverse. Okay, so it's always tea time, eternity, endless moments, and repetition. What this is kind of encouraging you to do is see what habits you're stuck in. No, we're all mad here, and if you want something different, do something different. Okay, that's what this message is for you this week. Now, if you picked 3, you actually got 2 cards. Okay, so the first one is clock time. Okay, time, pressure, and in a rush. And the second card was a moment's regret upside down. Okay, so idealing the past, fearing you made a mistake. This is basically a warning of like, don't rush. Don't get too busy. Do have some disciplined energy around time, and know that if there's regrets that are coming up, you can tend to them gently, compassionately, learn from them. Don't just shame yourself from them, okay? All right, let's get started on your individuals. I'm going to start with the top of my list, which is coming from YouTube's comments section. If you're watching, type me, please, and I will get you there. Let's see, Diane, you're in the middle there, and just below you, I got to make a note just in case I have any glitches. For some reason, okay, Janice, I see you there. Janelle and Donnie, for some reason, you got off the radar there. Okay, Miranda, here we go. All right, so this is upside down. It says you are rare and free. There are not many of you. When it's upside down, you're forgetting your own unique essence. When it's upside down, you're like not understanding. This is number 38 in the deck of like 45 cards or something. So it's coming towards the end of the journey, but you're having to really acknowledge that you have a unique gift to give, and maybe you don't even recognize what it is. And this week would be a good week to start focusing on honoring that unique side. All right, Cara and Tatiana. Cara, you are doing curious and curiouser this week, okay? So weirdness and curiosity, things are getting a little strange. Sometimes that's just a good indicator that something is needing to shift and it's time. Okay, so just get curious about the change rather than any kind of needing to control. Tatiana, you're working with clock time. All right, so pressure in a rush. So if you picked 3 at the beginning, don't be in a rush this week. Just kind of pay attention to the clock, but don't pay attention to it in the way that's like making you a slave to it. Just recognize that time management is a skill, and time can be kind of relative, meaning that sometimes time feels fast and sometimes time feels slow, depending on what you're doing. Just kind of work with it. Okay. Tanya, you've got a moment's regret right side up. Okay. So this was come up upside down at the beginning. So this is really calling out to say, don't idealize the past, especially falsely. Don't go back and think something was better back then, because it wasn't necessarily. These pining for old times, it's not always true. And this is kind of calling that out for you to not go back and rake over the past, okay? All right, Kimberly S. You are shining bright like a candle, okay? You will make it through this. This is kind of an encouragement of like, this is when she starts to be like, well, maybe I could just disappear. And that, yeah, you could. And it could all be over like an instant. And that's why you value it all. Okay. So really painting the picture that you want to paint, honoring your internal light this week. Cynthia, you've got upside down reverse. I want to be a queen. Okay. So this says stating sovereignty, declaring freedom, and passing the test. And so basically what this is saying when it's in reverse, it's like, where are you trying too hard to pass a test and not recognizing that you are in a choice point? Like, you have authority over yourself. It's not happening to you, it's happening with you. And this is just kind of acknowledging that energy right now. Okay. Jenny and Weston. Jenny V, you got choices upside down. To me, what this is, I'm hearing, it says blocked and restrained. Really what I'm hearing is this week is not about choices. It's about recognizing you already made the choices, and now you have to follow through with the choices that you've made. And maybe it feels hard to do, but it's okay. Let your guides know you would like help removing the obstacles. Okay. Weston, you're going to be working on the right way, okay? Learning to create what you desire. So there is actually no straight line to life, right? So this card is basically saying to you, what do you want to create? What does your heart desire? Not just what do you need, but what do you desire? And how can you focus on really letting those desires be loud and clear to you? All right. Nicole and Addison. Nicole, such a curious dream, upside down into the deck. Grounding, returning to reality, coming home, or not. When it's upside down, it's like you haven't let the dream end. You haven't let yourself kind of realize that this illusion that's been going on is over. And now there's a new story that wants to unfold, but you have to let the old story close. Okay. So this would work on closing the old story. Be shocked and awed about what you've been through too. It's okay. You can be like, oh, what was that? Addison, you're going to learn to manage to be glad, okay? You're creating your own happiness regardless of conditions. Basically, this is just saying you get to decide, what your happiness is about and whether or not you actually can endure without, the words of others, kind of what is hard and still be happy, okay? Diane, for you this week, you're going to want to focus on being a queen, but the right side up, okay? So stating your own sovereignty, declaring freedom, recognizing that you can be the queen of your own life, and that, yeah, there's a lot of other people who are making other choices around you that may feel like it's impacting your sovereignty, but you have a choice, and how you think about it matters. Okay. All right. Let's see. Janice. Okay. Upside down, no need to fear. Okay. Remember how powerful you are. So when it's upside down, you might just be not remembering how powerful you are. Okay. So the message still is no need to fear, but it's kind of like check where you're scaring yourself, check where you're giving yourself nightmares. Okay. That's where you want to be a little cautious this week. All right. Janelle and Donnie. Janelle, you can't go back to yesterday. Be in the present. Oh, this is a hard one right now. I mean, we just keep wanting to rake over what's happened and try to make sense of it. It's our subconscious does this. So as often as you can, here's a technique I want to give all of you, okay? If you find yourself going into a past problem in your head, in your energy, just imagine that that thing is like alive in you, but needs to come out of you, okay? And in your mind's eye, imagine a beautiful magnetic energy that is asking that thing to be returned to wherever it started, okay? So that calls out of you from now. Literally imagine it filling up with that thing you're kind of going over. Toss it out to the astral and blow it up like a firework and let it go back wherever it wants to go. And then just imagine that you fill in those spaces that you just made inside yourself with a beautiful gold energy. Give it a try. Let me know how it goes, okay? Donnie, mortality for you, okay? Life is brief, bright, beautiful, and yours to live. We're not here forever. There isn't a beginning and an end to this illusion. Be in the awareness that when you respect life, life respects you, okay? Focus on that. Denise, you're going to want to focus on a moment's regret. Second time we've seen this right side up. So this thing is lingering around, you guys. Don't go back and idealize the past. Don't rake over your mistakes. Take a lesson, learn, do better. That's all that this is saying, okay? So don't worry about going back over something. Tiff, okay. Second time we've seen it upside down. So see how it's kind of, the messages are trying to get through to us, okay? So this, when it's upside down, is basically kind of saying like, it's okay to recognize that there was regret. It's okay to go and see what regret was doing to hold you back. And now it's okay to let it go and be in the present time. Okay. Forgiveness, self-forgiveness. Okay. Kay, Charlie, and Ian. Okay. Okay. Upside down, follow your own good advice. Trust yourself. You know what's best for you. Okay. So when it's upside down, that you're not doing that necessarily. And this week you want to focus on where is self-doubt creeping in and how is it impacting your ability to be healthy and happy and free. Charlie, lead the way. Be a leader. Show others how it's done. You can help others. Okay? So with your journey and your path, and if you kind of let yourself really be empowered, you can show others how to do it. Okay? So it's not a pressure. It's not like you have to be the leader. It's more of an invitation. Okay? Ian, never jam today. Okay. Promises that never come, empty words, not living in the now. This is the point of it where the queen says, we don't ever eat jam today. We eat it yesterday, we eat it tomorrow, but never today, which means you never eat jam. Okay. So this energy is basically saying, look where you're doing the ifs, buts, wins. I'll get to it, and be careful about that because that will just be a forever loop. All right. Christy and Kira and Finn. Christy. Belong to your own dream, okay? Create your own life. See, she's looking inward. She's going into her own life. What does she actually want to create? She's in charge. She can do it if she wants to. It's time for her to really own that, okay? Kira, you are keeping your temper. Okay, it's upside down, but it says don't allow anger to rule you. And also notice, because it's upside down, where are you actually angry, but you're not expressing it, or you're stuffing it. It's creating physical issues for you because you're not letting your anger be heard. You don't have to be mean with your anger. You can just be assertive. I'm angry about this. Finn, messages from the rabbit, service to the animal world, some time to spend time in nature, tending to animals. Okay, I'm seeing in particular like birds and maybe, the forest life. Okay, little time in the forest with the animals. Burnout proof leaders, you are going to work on being a queen this week. Okay, so second time we've seen it right side up. So your own sovereignty, declaring your own freedom, you're going to pass this test, okay? The test of, whether or not you can be an authority of yourself and truly you don't have to have a wall up. You can have the wall down and have the boundary set so that there's an exchange, but not a push, if that makes sense. All right, Carly. Carly, you're working with using your time well this week. Okay, so every moment count. Use your calendar, use your clocks. Make sure that you let the universe know what you want to be spending your time on by spending your time on those things. Okay, so if you want to be getting busier in one area, go do the things to make yourself busy in that area. Hannah, you're working at the end of it right side up. Such a curious dream. Grounding, returning to reality, coming home. So this is really letting you know that this is a time where things are coming to an end. A certain phase is done. And now it's time to come back to yourself and figure out what's next. Okay. All right, Robin, Austin, and Chris. Robin, you're working on belonging to your own dream. Second time we've seen this. Create your own life, journal your own desires, be in awareness of what those desires mean. Have a minute with yourself every single day to say, what am I dreaming up right now? Okay. Austin, you want to focus on curiouser and curiouser. All right. Discovery, inquiry, weirdness, and curiosity. Laugh at how strange things are getting. Laugh at how unusual life can be, because that is true. Life is bizarre. And if you let it be funny and silly and light, it will work with you. Okay. Chris, you got upside down, becoming braver. Okay, so resilience, experience, growing stronger, and fresh perspectives. Careful not to dig your heels in. Okay, this card is basically saying be brave enough to make a change, be brave enough to listen to a different opinion, to get a fresh perspective. It's okay to let things be a little bit misunderstood so that clarity can come through. Okay. Kelly and Matthew. Kelly, find the lesson. Second time we've seen this card. Discover the purpose in a situation. Trust that you are learning. Notice too that everybody around you kind of represents a version of you, and what parts are irritating you and why are they irritating you? Are they from your past? Are they from a part of you that you don't accept? A little shadow work, really kind of digging into those lessons this week. Matthew, upside down, manage to be glad. Okay. So you are creating your own happiness regardless of conditions, or are you not? When it's upside down, you might be giving too much power to external circumstances about what's going to make you happy. You get to decide if you're going to be happy, and if you're unhappy, you also get to decide to make those changes. Okay. Heidi M., you are in a moment's regret upside down. Third time's a charm to bring this card upside down. It's been floating around. We had to know it was going to come up again. I'm going to pull up the book for a minute and I'm going to read you the little passage. It says, it was much pleasanter at home, thought poor Alice, when one wasn't always growing larger and smaller and being ordered about by mice and rabbits. I almost wish I hadn't gone down that rabbit hole. And yet, it's rather curious, this sort of life. Okay, so what this is saying in reverse is what the author says. Forging ahead without reflection, an inability to marry the past, the present, and the future. No thinking back, a lack of attachment to once was, the refusal to remember. Seeing nostalgia as sentimental and foolish. Focus on the future and lack of appreciation for what was good about your past. Okay, so I'm hearing a lot from the guides to let the past go, but also this card basically is also, when it's upside down, saying don't go too far in the future. and maybe clean up what strings are pulling you back from the past first so you can move ahead. Okay, that message is for all of us now because that's the third time we've seen it. Joel, you are working with mortality upside down. I immediately heard that you're a little too focused on mortality right now, that there's a little bit of light. It says life is bright, beautiful, and yours to live. Like even if you had only moments, it's still yours to do. So really giving yourself that space to explore the impermanence and the kind of beauty of that. Okay. King of the Forest, you are working on all must have prizes, trying to please everyone. Okay. Upside down basically is saying be careful with your people pleaser. Don't do it. And, also be sure to make yourself happy because that's also the job that you have in spirit is to be the source of your own happiness, right? Okay. Eli is bringing a moment's regret right side up again. Okay. We've been seeing this card, you guys. I'm going to go back and read some more. Here we go. Second guessing your decisions, berating yourself for the choices you've made, feeling regretful and missing what was, nostalgia, living in the past, a focus on what's going wrong or what could still go wrong. Okay, so letting this go, you guys, regrets. Work with what are you regretting? What are you not forgiving of yourself? What decisions do you wish you hadn't made? They made. So go back and see why are you trying to reopen the book. Okay. Taryn, for you this week, follow the white rabbit. It was upside down. So curiosity meets opportunity. With the upside down reverse, what I'm hearing from your guides is that it's about taking the opportunities that are already in front of you and not constantly chasing more white rabbits. Okay. So just giving yourself an idea that you can follow what path you're already on. You don't have to keep looking for new paths. Seriously wonderful. Courtney, you are working with the nature communication, flower energies, fairy energies, elemental messengers. Get outside, talk to the trees, let the trees know you're listening. Let your guides know that you talk through the animals and that you'll notice the birds in the sky, all the good things, okay? And Lori's focus for the week, clock time upside down. So we've seen this twice right side up, but okay, so clock time right side upside down, we're working with the ability to kind of find out where you're rushing yourself or maybe not rushing yourself. Maybe you can move your deadlines up a little bit because you're procrastinating or giving yourself too much time to get something done. Just paying attention to that. Okay, eat 100 foods. Okay, I put this back in and shuffled, and so now they're revisiting this again. Move your deadlines up is one of the things I'm hearing with this card. So Lori and Eat 100 Foods, whatever projects you're working on, move the deadlines up. Make yourself a little more accountable to getting things done. Chunk it out more if you need to. Project manage your stuff so that you can check off, yep, I'm making progress, okay? Lisa C., your focus for the week is such a curious dream. Second time we've seen it right side up. Grounding, returning to reality, coming home. Whatever has happened, you can reflect. Holy cow, that was a ride. And you're in a new phase. Okay? All right, Cameron. See, I told you guys I'd get to you. I'm a fast talker, and I can hear your guides telling you all kinds of things. So let's see. Cameron, becoming braver, upside down. Second time we've seen that. Resilience, experience, and growing stronger. This is being brave enough to get a fresh perspective, okay? Brave enough to say to yourself, I need somebody else's point of view to shake me up because I am too in my head right now and I am ready to be brave enough to see that it could be different. When I'm feeling really lack in mindset about whatever, I try to find the people who are in abundance about that thing. And I like to have their influence so that they can help me get out of that crunchy tightness I'm in. All right, Marita. You've got nonsense upside down, okay? It's time to talk sense. This is the phase of the game where she is just like everybody's being crazy and I am not going to listen to anybody now. I'm going to listen to myself, okay? So notice where you have been getting involved in these loops of miscommunication, of craziness, and it's been pulling you in. And this week is a week to kind of stop that from happening, okay? So give yourself that time to just be like, nope, not doing that with you, okay? All right, so I think I've gotten to the end of the comments. If you're watching live and you haven't typed me please in and you would like a card, I'm here for it. I'm going to throw a card for Matt. Okay. Painting the roses red, correcting your mistakes. Okay. So you're working with, where have you been correcting errors or covering up errors in a way that isn't necessarily helping you? It's time to own up to the mistakes and really work on those, making those things right in the way that's sustainable. Okay. All right, you guys. Well, nobody else hanging out there. Let's talk a little bit more about this moment's regret. Well, I'm waiting to see if there's any me pleases, and we have about 5 minutes left. Okay. Let's just talk to the guides about why this is so up. Well, one of the things that the guides are talking to me about is that we are believing that there is people doing things that are making things worse, and not better. Like we're kind of feeling like things are getting more difficult rather than better. And, kind of idealizing how it was done before, but remembering that there was some problems in the past. Like our history is not clear and clean with all kinds of perfect movements, right? It's not been a straight line of consciousness. We've gone back and forth a lot. This is basically saying, though, that you want to make sure that you clean up your relationship with the ifs and wins and the befores, right? Because if you're always living in the past or in the future and you're racing that as if life is to be, kind of gotten through rather than live day by day, you're going to end up having even more regrets because you're going to be making decisions out of, kind of unconsciousness rather than being conscious. So that's really what the guides are saying about this moment's regret. And when you think about what you are being asked to do in this kind of next phase, we're almost into June, you guys. Um, it's it is really an energy of ownership of thought, like taking control of how you think so that you can be the one who is the leader of thought, is the leader of positivity, is the leader of consciousness as we go forward. If all we're doing is worrying about the past, we're not preserving what's important to us, then we can get ourselves in trouble. I'm also kind of seeing that impulsive, like I want it right now, and I'm not really going to care about what the consequences are later, especially on that consumption energy. So the energy of like, I really want that piece of cake or whatever, and I don't really care if that's good for me or if it's gonna make my stomach hurt or whatever. I want it, and then I eat it and it's gone, but the consequences linger. This is what kind of the guides are saying this week is a good focus, is making it clear to yourself that the decisions you make now are in preparation for your future self, but not being done only to live there, but to live here so that you can constantly be kind of thanking your past self. So like let's say you book an energy healing and you're like, "Oh, I kind of need an energy healing," and you book it, okay? And then you really need it. Some things happen and the session's like 3 weeks later. That past self was taking care of your present self, and you can say to your past self, "Thank you, past self, for making this appointment." Okay? So positive relationships with how you're kind of always leaving these nuggets for yourself in the future by making plans and things like that. Other thing too about this moment's regret energy is that there's just things that get really distorted. You start thinking of things and you have false memories, or you alter the way the interaction went in your head and it's not true. So just be careful about that too. And make sure that the stories that you're telling yourself are daydreams and visions of the future and not nightmares and scariness. Okay. All right. As long as technology is on my side, which today it was, thankfully, I am on YouTube every Sunday from 12 to 12:30 Mountain Time, Mountain Daylight Time right now. I'm in Colorado. And I will come on here and give you your focus for the week. And occasionally I also drop some other wisdom throughout the week or light counsel transmission. So if you're interested in staying tuned with me, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that you have the bell button pushed so that it tells you when I am live. And go be amazing. I'll see you later.